Welcome to Wonderspace. It's great to have you on board. My name is Steve Cole, and over the past 78 episodes, I have been asking the same 6 questions to amazing people from around the world. The questions orbit around wonder and stories of hopefulness, and the setting for each journey is this shared window on the space station, from where we see everything from a different perspective. Before we introduce our guest this week, our friends at asknature.org are going to help us to re-wonder.
Deep in the ocean, below the point where 99% of sunlight is filtered out, the eyes of many fish point upward. This allows them to see shadows of predators, prey, or potential mates swimming above, but it leaves everything beneath them cloaked in mystery. The brown snout spookfish has found a way around this. It has outgrowths from its upward-facing eyes that open downwards. Light from bioluminescent creatures below enters these outgrowths and hits a stack of reflective plates that act as a mirror. This curved mirror gathers, reflects, and focuses the faint light from below like a telescope to create sharp images on the outgrowth's retina. This double vision gives spookfish a valuable advantage as they compete with other animals to find food and avoid becoming food in almost total darkness.
Our orbit this week will take us down the west coast of America, and to experience these views with us in this ultimate window seat, we welcome Joshua Coombes. In 2015, whilst working at a London hair salon, Joshua took to the streets with his scissors to build relationships and offer haircuts to men and women experiencing homelessness in the capital. He began posting transformative images on social media to amplify the voices of those he met, and Do Something for Nothing was born, a movement that encourages people to connect their skills and time to those who need them. The full-length interview with Josh can be heard on the Wonderspace podcast, which can be found on our website and on most podcast platforms. For this video orbit, Josh answers 3 of our 6 questions, and I start by asking him to give us a glimpse into his life story so far, with an emphasis on what he is doing currently.
Music is something that I always go back to, and it's kind of what really, I guess, gave me the energy and really, I think, the ethos that stays with me until this day. Like, I obviously, going back as far as maybe a good place to start is my teenage years in school. That wasn't a very positive experience for me. It was one that left me feeling quite a great sense of kind of, what am I going to do next? Because I didn't end up with any GCSEs or any grades to move forward academically. So finding a guitar and some friends and joining a band was basically the way that I kind of, not only found my people, but also found an education through bands and listening to groups of kind of punk music from the sort of really the late 70s, albeit that I was coming at it about 30 years later, was a bit of it was a new school for me, and it was people, and it was, on the face of it looked a bit spiky and kind of a bit gnarly, but actually it was all about putting your arm around the person next to you and people who were on the fringes, opening the door for them. And growing up in Exeter and Devon, that was my kind of upbringing in what was a small kind of town feel. Is a lot bigger now, and it really feels like the city that it is, but it's still kind of really, it's a small place, and I knew I wanted to get out, and music kind of did that for me also. It allowed me to travel, playing gigs in different places. And then, mid-20s, I got into cutting hair, and that wasn't really something that I planned, to be honest, Steve. It was something that was, at the end of a certain period of my life, I was looking for a way to make some money, but also to find a job and a career that I thought would suit me. And I've always been a people person. And walking by a salon one day, I just sort of decided to walk in and ask for a chance. And that was mid-20s. I started working in the salon there, and that sort of led me to doing what I do now, and giving haircuts on the street for people who are experiencing homelessness. So that was a transition that happened, that, from working in a salon to providing this and connecting with people in quite a vulnerable position. Obviously, it's not only been a way to cut hair and get to know people, but to tell stories around kind of what can be a group of people who are often invisible. And yeah, that's changed my personal trajectory in ways that I couldn't have imagined. And the stories I began to tell initially were on social media. It was something that I kind of felt really drawn to do, because I think we all walk by people who are living on the street, people who are experiencing homelessness, and I think we all know the feelings that confront us in that moment, and kind of that curiosity, but perhaps feeling sometimes really helpless to an issue that we all see is growing, that is all kind of all around us all the time, but seems to be rising. And the stories that I was hearing with each person, it just, it dissolved all these myths that I think we might hear sometimes, these kind of preconceptions, as to why somebody might end up in this position. And it sort of got to the heart of, this person that I was seeing. It sort of penetrated all the statistics. When you bring it down to one person, I thought those stories were really important to tell. So Do Something for Nothing is important to mention, is the sort of, broadly speaking, like the movement of other people getting involved. It's what I used to use on social media and still do as a hashtag to sort of inspire other people, to hopefully encourage them to get involved in their own way. And the book is also, the title's Do Something for Nothing. And just trying to bring people closer to the lives of people who are sometimes overlooked. I give talks at events, more corporate settings as well. It can be, I think, quite motivational to get people involved, however you're looking to kind of impact socially, maybe help people in your community participate. So that's actually the way that I'm able to make income now, because I've left my job in the salon a long time ago to be able to continue to do the work that I do. The person really is my friend Paul. He lives in LA. His son was born blind and autistic, and he founded an organization called Paulie's Project. I think we all know somebody in our life who wakes up each day and makes the choice, because it is a choice, to walk on the sunny side of the street, or take inventory of the things he's grateful for instead of the things that he isn't. And bringing up his son and how he is for, in the sense of a caregiver for his son is incredible, but that's actually led him to many other things, and he inspires loads of people. So he saw the way that his son responded to music and how that really soothed him. And he lives quite close to Skid Row, which is an area of downtown Los Angeles where there's like thousands of people who are living on the street and experiencing homelessness. One day he went out with like a few cheap kind of CD Walkmans way back when, and started giving people, donating them like some music so they could listen to. And then he got some funding for it, and he started going out there with these headsets, and before you know it, like he sort of pretty much served one whole street down there with people who've all got kind of access to like music to listen to. But that actually now really has transitioned into something that's like, much bigger, which is LA is such a contrasting place for people who have and have not, and he has managed to bring together all kinds of different people who come down and volunteer like bi-weekly, and go down there with a big entourage of cars with different things that they give, like essential products. But the main thing he does is he knows everybody down there by name, and he knows them and what they need, and he helps them along when they can to different pathways in their life. But he has this relationship with people who are sometimes broadcast and dehumanized in the mainstream media as people you should be scared of, people you should be frightened of. And the way that he kind of does his work is just really inspiring, mate. And it always comes back to his son. It comes back to his son and this challenge that he was faced with, that he decided to completely embody and make his strength, not his weakness. Yeah, for me, it's very similar to the subtitle of my book, which is Seeing Beneath the Surface of Homelessness via a simple act of a haircut. Well, that's my version, but honestly, I'm really into trying to see beneath the surface of what it is, how we first perceive one another. I've realized that words like empathy for me are only real if they're embodied full spectrum. And by that, I mean, I work on the street with people who are very vulnerable, who need a lot of help, who might have a lot of stigma surrounding their life and judgment calls from people outside. But I also know that person driving down the street in a flash car and, kind of maybe cutting people up and kind of might look like they care a lot more about the hedonistic things in life than they do the soulful kind of parts of our experience. I have a lot of empathy for them as well. I have to have empathy for politicians who might seem like they're screwing everything up in their own way, because I think that it doesn't ever give anybody a pass, but what it does is it creates a way of living where you're on a path of understanding even when things seem very difficult, trying to understand that there's a person beyond the layers that you see.
To find out more about the work of Josh, go to the website dosomethingfornothing.org. To engage with the previous 78 Wonderspace episodes, go to our website ourwonder.space. I want to thank Josh for joining us on Wonderspace, and I hope you can join us next week for more wonders and stories of hopefulness.